Going live. Thanks for joining, everyone. We will be getting started shortly after 1. Going to give people more time to roll in. Great to have you all with us here today. Looks like we have some folks in the Charlotte area in Midland, Texas. Thanks, Adam, from your desk. Love the sense of humor. I'm currently based in Ohio, so I am a bit closer in the Midwest, but usually I'm based in San Francisco. Got a Michigan folk. Good to see you up north. We'll give it just a couple more minutes, and then we'll kick things off. All right, so I know we are top of the hour. I would love to get things kicked off and started. I think we'll probably have some more folks rolling in, but don't want to keep you all waiting too long. So we'll get started. So thank you all for coming. This is our first virtual meetup series on behalf of the Autodesk Group Network and our local East Coast user groups, the MAAUG, Mid-Atlantic Autodesk User Group, CAD Micro Systems, and Design Technology Charleston specifically. So we are, my name is Rachel Hartley. For those of you who do not know me, I'm the program manager of the Autodesk Group Network. And today we have Stacey Morykin and Tim Yarris, as well as others across Autodesk with us today to meet and talk about collaboration for Civil 3D and meet with our local user group communities. So would like to just set some norms for how the virtual meetup will be going today. So everyone's line is muted to help reduce background noise, but does not mean that you can't speak up. So if you have a question, we do want to try to use the questions box, that Q&A, but you can also raise your hand. So if you want to ask a question live to Stacey or Tim as they guide us through the discussion, please feel free to do that, and we're happy to unmute you. There will also be a link to the recorded session emailed to everyone. So we'll be hosting a topic discussion with Stacey and Tim, and then after we'll be having specific discussion rooms. So those discussion rooms won't be recorded, but what Tim and Stacey will be presenting will be. So we'll guide us through today's meetup flow quickly. I'll introduce the Autodesk Group Network for those of you who are not familiar with it, and our local user groups that are with us today. And then I'll hand that over to Stacey and Tim to do a quick speaker introduction as they dive us into our topic discussion on collaboration for Civil 3D. And then we'll be ending with a new format that we're testing, which are our breakout discussion rooms, so that you actually have a chance to unmute yourself freely and connect with the local user groups as well as Autodesk. So I highly recommend staying for those breakout discussions and picking an exciting room to go to, because I think it'll be a really fruitful discussion. So those not familiar with the Autodesk Group Network, it was newly launched in November 2019 as our global network of user groups, developer groups, and online groups. We established this to help others connect, to learn, build relationships, and share knowledge, and really find and engage with local user groups or online groups. We have on our site a nice way to help you find and filter by product, industry, languages, and locations to find these local communities near you. You'll see here, this is the Mid-Atlantic Autodesk User Group led by Stacey and Anand in Philadelphia, but you can also scroll down through the table to find more. Ultimately, in forming the Autodesk Group Network, it was a vision of ours that we help people connect in community to share knowledge and to collaborate across firms and industries to improve the use of design technology and ultimately make a better world. I know it might sound very high, but in working and getting closer with our amazing group leaders around the world, I found that it is striving to achieve the same mission and vision of why they continue to lead user groups. And what we seek to achieve and how we seek to support these local communities and these online groups is creating a global network so we can underpin this community with tools and resources that our group leaders need to continue managing their groups, making it easier, more efficient, and ultimately helping them scale and grow their communities in really healthy and valuable ways. And to also connect and collaborate with other leaders. So in this virtual meetup series, it's been great to have our CAD Micro Systems groups with Amanda and Jeff, connecting with Stacey, connecting now with Landon and Anand and Tim. So the more types of collaborative events and projects we can do together to spur those connections. And then helping each individual reach their personal and professional goals, and ultimately adopting new and better ways of working in your markets, in your industries, and doing that together. In forming the official group network, it was really important for us to support without centrally controlling or owning user groups. And we aim to create deeper connection between groups and with Autodesk. So with that, that's enough about just the Autodesk Group Network in itself, but I'd really love to let those that are leading our local user groups that are with us today share a bit more about their group, a brief introduction, and how they're a part of the Autodesk Group Network. So I'll kick it off first with our Mid-Atlantic Autodesk User Group.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Anand Stephen, along with Stacey. I'm co-leading the Mid-Atlantic Autodesk User Group. One of the things that I'm really excited about is that in this current pandemic, all social connections are lost, but So even though this is virtual, we're somewhat, we're trying to keep it in this regional area of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and Delaware areas. And our goal is to kind of promote, as Rachel mentioned, sharing some of the professional experience and expertise. Maybe it'll be a forum where we can find better ways to work and collaborate, and ultimately building a better built environment, which is our calling, so to speak, right, as design professionals. That's welcome, and let's make it a better world.
Thank you. And Amanda, would you like to share a bit about CAD Microsystems, all of these amazing groups that you're leading?
Absolutely. So my name is Amanda Wilkinson. I'm on the CAD Microsystems team that helps support our formerly live Revit user groups. We have them from Maryland down into the Carolinas. And much like the Autodesk Group Network, the goal for our groups is to provide a forum for technology users to share their ideas, their methods, best practices to further the BIM benefits for the area's local design communities. And we do this by fostering local peer-to-peer contacts among technology practitioners. So we want our users to get to know each other. We share best practices, and we also provide feedback to Autodesk regarding functionality and the user experiences that we hear about from our members. And since things took a turn for everyone in March, we've been hosting joint monthly BIM XT network Zoom events, just to try to keep our groups connected until we can get back together in person. And we're really excited to be participating in the Autodesk Group Network's virtual meetup as another opportunity to sort of see everyone again. So we look forward to the conversation and the discussion for today.
Thanks, Amanda. It's really great. And I think in connection with you all, I think Landon is here with us today representing the Design Technology Charleston group. And I think he's been well connected with you all in getting help started, but Landon, I'll let you kick off what your group's all about.
Hey everybody, my name is Landon Messel. We're here in Charleston, South Carolina, but really hoping to drive collaboration and in the Southeast, starting from Charlotte and down into Florida. But and with the help of CAD Micro Systems, we've been able to put a team together, a board together of owners, architects, contractors to really drive that collaboration through the entire design process. To evaluate, where we are currently collaborating, where we need to get better, and then also how technology is affecting what we deliver to our clients and how we interact with each other. So I'm interested to keep driving that communication forward, and I'd welcome anybody to shoot into that breakout session if you'd like to discuss that.
Awesome. Thanks, Landon. Those are, like Landon had mentioned, they're newly formed, and same with the Mid-Atlantic Autodesk User Group. It's a revitalization of the Philly User Group, and each of them will be part of a breakout room discussion. So when you're, already intrigued or looking to engage after Stacey and Tim present, there'll be time to connect one-on-one personally with all of them. So with that, though, I will kick it off to Stacey and Tim to give a brief introduction about yourself and help guide us into our topic discussion, collaboration for Civil 3D. So Stacey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. It's good to see some familiar names here on the list of attendees. My name is Stacey Morykin. I'm a Design Technology Evangelist. I did not give myself that title, that was given to me, but it doesn't mean that it's not true. I'm all about design technology, and I am based in Pennsylvania. And my background has primarily been in the civil engineering industry. I've been part of this industry for 20 plus years, more on the land development side of things, but definitely more geared towards the civil, transportation, and land development. Tim, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Awesome, thanks. So hi everyone, my name is Tim Yarris. I am the product manager for Civil 3D here at Autodesk. So I've been with Autodesk for between 13 and 14 years now, so it seems like a lifetime. The whole time I've been on the Civil 3D product team in a whole bunch of different roles over the years, and so I'm passionate about the product, passionate about interacting with all of you folks, the customers, and the people who are really into just getting their hands into it and making sure that it's a better product. And so, yeah, that's me.
Thanks, both of you. Stacey, I will let you share your screen for guiding us through the presentation. As Stacey works to get that up, I did want to make one nice introduction that I forgot to say. Wendy Lim is on the line with us as well. She's our new AEC community manager at Autodesk. So you might see her starting to answer questions in the chat and help facilitate some of the Q&A. So just Wendy wanted to let you say hi. Great. All right, Stacey, ready to kick it off.
Okay, hopefully you can see my screen and everything's working as expected.
Yes, looks great.
All right, technology on its A game today. Fantastic. So, yeah, you know, the topic for today was just to talk about collaboration for Civil 3D on the BIM 360 environment or platform. And yeah, really my perspective or the customer perspective as the design technology manager for Pannoni. So Pannoni is actually a mid-sized engineering firm located all along the East Coast of the US. We have offices that span from Boston as far south as Miami and as far west as Ohio. So really, you know, Mid-Atlantic does kind of cover most of our offices. So we have about 1,200 employees, like I said, 37 offices. 80% of our business is on the civil side of things, which includes transportation, municipal, land development. And 10% is more on our MEP and structural markets. And the reason why that doesn't add up to 100% is because you still need some fluff in there for administrative, right? So you can't have 100% of the firm. There's still some backup and support, which is my primary role at Pannoni. So to give you a brief overview of Pannoni and why we chose to go with collaboration for Civil 3D, I'm going to step a few years back. Back in 2016, I'm sure like most of you, we were running a WAN environment, a wide area network. We had multiple servers. Sharing of project information was challenging at best. And we also migrated to Civil 3D 2017 at that point in time. When 2017 came about, we decided as a firm to move to an on-premise cloud environment. So something similar to Nasuni or Panzura or Talon that you may all currently be using or are familiar with. We decided to move on to that type of platform and standardize our project folder structure. And that kind of set us up better to collaborate both internally and then externally as well. But in 2018, we noticed some challenges, especially with our Revit team and collaborating internally. For whatever reason, that on-prem cloud environment just wasn't working as well for us on with our Revit specific projects. So, you know, we reached out to our channel partner and we asked for a solution. And at that point in time, I think BIM 360 for Revit was fairly new. So we decided to embark on that platform for all of our Revit teams and implement that in 2018. And everything has been going really well on the Revit side of things. And you know, in 2019, we decided to upgrade all of our hardware for our production staff. I think some of our hardware was, you know, maybe more than 5 years of age, and we were looking towards the future and having conversations with other industry leaders as well as Autodesk and seeing what was coming down the pipe. So you know, we decided to upgrade to Civil 3D 2020, as well as upgrade some of our hardware. That's not necessary, I think, for collaboration for Civil 3D, definitely not a requirement, but something that Pannoni decided to do internally. So that takes us right to 2020. And when we upgraded to Civil 3D 2020, we had the option of, we still didn't have our civil projects inside of BIM 360 because, let's face it, it didn't exist prior to October of 2019. So when it was publicly released in October of 2019, we thought, this is great. Now we can finally get both of our teams on the same platform, especially with our design applications, and we don't have to keep two separate systems to work on the same type of projects. So we decided to embark on collaboration for Civil 3D and test it out. And so some of the challenges that we did have was that our current cloud environment had some serious propagation times and issues, right? So one of the reasons why we chose to go with BIM 360. So these are the challenges that we were faced with. We currently had some significant propagation times. If someone in our Florida office saved a file to our on-premise cloud environment, it could take up to an hour to 2 hours to reach another office. And as well as I do, time is money, and we can't afford to wait for more than 2 minutes. Let's be honest. 5 minutes is probably a reasonable time to wait. We also had disparate systems for our horizontal teams versus our vertical teams. So all of our Civil 3D users were on-prem, and all of our Revit users were on a cloud environment. So sharing of that data was, very difficult. And then we also had this collaboration with external stakeholders too. So a lot of our information is being passed either through OneDrive or FTP sites. I know FTP sites or even email solutions. So we all got together and came up with a few solutions and tried to weigh the pros and cons of those solutions. One of our solutions was to go back and restore the WAN environment and platform. And I think it was a resounding no from everyone on Pannoni. We did not want to go backwards. So that was, big red X. We're not going back. The next solution that we came up with was a virtual desktop environment. So, okay, that's possible, right? That's a maybe because, it still gives us an opportunity to collaborate on the same environment. Or actually, it doesn't fix that issue, but it still helps with the propagation times, right? So it helps with some of our challenges, but not across the board. So, and weighing the cost for virtual desktop versus, something else like a collaboration platform like BIM 360 or ProjectWise just didn't, it didn't make fiscal sense to embark on a virtual desktop environment right away. So then lastly, we looked at other cloud-based environments, BIM 360 and ProjectWise. And I think just in having conversations in the industry with other leaders like yourselves, we realized and recognized that, while ProjectWise may work, it still requires us to change our workflows a little bit and takes a look at those project status a little bit differently. And then we didn't want to change too much at once for our teams. So with the onset of collaboration for Civil 2D and BIM 360, we thought, let's try this out. Let's test it out. I think we can do this. We can definitely support it and provide feedback to Autodesk. So that's what really was our ultimate decision to embark on BIM 360. So like I said, we have 1,200 people, and let's face it, implementation doesn't happen overnight. So the next course of conversation was, now that we picked the platform and the environment, how do we move into this environment? How do we implement it? And if we look at everything from a whole, and this next slide is going to be a whole bunch of text, so bear with me here. But our initial step was just to take some of the projects that we had that included numerous offices for the most collaboration, right? So some of our larger projects that had multiple stakeholders, both internally and externally, and also cross-platform. So some of the projects that were spanning both Revit and Civil 3D. that was our initial step. Take a look at those projects and then understand those project needs and the agreed upon platform from the BIM execution plan. So if we are not the prime on that project, or if we are the prime, then let's talk with the external project stakeholders and agree upon this platform before we just force everybody into it. Because alongside of that, I mean, it's still a fairly new platform. So there's still going to be some internal training and videos and how do we work with this platform? How do we create that project and add team members both internally and externally, set those permissions and make sure that everyone's on the same page. So if we wanted to use this type of platform, it's incumbent upon us to help others and bring others up to speed, right? So we're all in this together and we're all trying to understand a newer platform. And then there was some installation of, a few extensions like the desktop connector for all those project team members. And then came the discussion of, do we start on this platform as new projects only, or do we try and take some of our existing projects into BIM 360? And I think the answer to that is both, right? Any new projects, let's start them on BIM 360, but then let's also try and take some of those projects that just started or maybe midway through. Let's try and migrate those into BIM 360 and continue working in a more collaborative environment. So that is what we did on our initial step, and there's still some ongoing support that needs to happen. Once we're in BIM 360, it's not like, okay, check in the box, we're done. We don't have to do anything else. We certainly have to continue to support that. And that means updating desktop connector with every release. We also hold bi-weekly internal calls on progress, findings, any challenges that are happening. And I think the most important part is that we provide that feedback right back to the Autodesk Infrastructure team, which Tim is going to talk about here soon. And then we meet with Autodesk to review those challenges, expectations, provide solutions and updates. So, it's an ongoing process. I think, like I said, Autodesk has had a year, but I think they've made substantial progress in that year with collaboration for Civil 3D. So in summary, this is not a sales pitch. Not everything is peachy and great. There were definitely some good things for Pannoni. And there's definitely some things that maybe aren't so good now, but I think the expectation is that they will get better relatively quickly. So some of the really good things from Pannoni's perspective was that our propagation times are non-existent anymore. We can open and close drawings instantaneously, no matter where we are. And I think this was even more beneficial as we went through the global pandemic. I think, our timing was impeccable. Not only was Autodesk timing impeccable when it came to publicly releasing this platform, but also Pannoni's perspective on innovating that technology and implementing it. Because when everybody had to go work from home, we didn't have to really scramble and try and figure out if we had enough bandwidth to share files and how we're going to do this, and everything slowed down. It was really, everybody grabbed their machine, went home and had the same type of experience no matter where they were, regardless if they were sitting in the office or anywhere. So that was definitely the plus and the good side of things. On the other side of the fence there, some of the file locking and unlocking sometimes sticks, and I know that the team is working on it, the Autodesk team is working on it. It's not a showstopper, but it's one of those things that you have to constantly, just make sure that things are locking and unlocking when you intend them to do so. The next good thing that we experienced was collaboration with external teams and external stakeholders. Over the past 8 months, that collaboration for Civil 3D has been publicly released. We've had multiple projects and multiple BIM managers, design technology managers calling us and saying, hey, we want to work on the BIM 360 platform. Are you guys there yet? And it's been great to be able to say, yes, we're there. We can work with you. We have licensing. We're ready to go. And the not so good is the licensing cost. So if you do happen to get on a project with an external stakeholder or with another company that isn't on BIM 360 yet, there's potentially a license cost for them or for you, as the model is bring your own license. Not only that, but training for those that are not familiar with the environment. So I found that in some instances, we were actually training individuals outside of our firm on how to use this platform in this environment and assigning entitlements and those types of things. So that's the downside of that collaboration, which I don't necessarily think is Autodesk's fault. I think that the more recognition and the more discussions that we have about collaboration for Civil 3D and BIM 360, then I think the more and more people will come onto this platform and the less training we have to do. Also, collaboration with the vertical infrastructure teams, like I mentioned, there are some tools inside of BIM 360 now, specifically surfaces. One of the major benefits that we encountered on a project that was both Revit and Civil 3D is we were able to give our surfaces or our terrain to the Revit teams, and they were able to see exactly where the grading lies, where's the finished grade, and help them determine where their foundations need to be designed and what information they have to watch out for. So that has been really good. And on the flip side of that, again, is training and knowledge of those shared reference points, because there is a process and guidelines that you should follow, both on the Civil 3D side as well as the Revit, just to make sure that those shared reference points are captured and working at the beginning of the project. So, and last but not least, the XREFs and data references. If you are a Civil 3D user, you know what I'm talking about here. If you're a Revit user, then it would be similar to links, but DREFs and XREFs, or data references and external reference workflows, are the same. I think a lot of our discussions in the past with ProjectWise has been that those workflows are modified a bit. And the nice thing about BIM 360, and you would expect that, right? Because it's an Autodesk platform. So of course they wouldn't change their own workflows. So those workflows are the same. It doesn't break. It keeps everything intact, which is fantastic. But the flip side, the not so good, is migrating some of those existing projects can be time consuming. There is a process, a documented process from Autodesk, and I've been part of other webinars and workshops that talk about what that process is to make sure that your data references are not broken and that everything moves in tandem and is readable in a nice way. So I don't think any of these things are showstoppers. At least they haven't been for Pannoni thus far, and I don't anticipate them being showstoppers in the future. And the only way that we can make it better is ultimately working together. And I think the important thing to note here is that Autodesk is listening. And I think for Pannoni, I didn't think that Autodesk, as big as Autodesk is, and as the AEComs and the WSPs and the Jacobs that are out there, I didn't think that they would care so much about, little old Pannoni and what we have to say about it. And that hasn't been the experience for us at all. So they are listening to all of the feedback, and I'm grateful of it. I know that Pannoni is as well. And with that, Tim, I'm going to pass it on to you so you can inform people of how they can provide feedback and et cetera.
Awesome. Thanks, Stacey. Tell you what, could you advance the slide, please? I think my stuff is in here too. Okay, cool. Okay. Thanks. All right. So just before I get into some kind of how you folks might be able to get involved, I know I see the list of participants. I see a lot of familiar faces, familiar names. So people that I know we are very well involved with and just collecting feedback, and we've got your influences being heard and everything. But just want to get a little bit of background, just to kind of add some color to Stacey and Pannoni's history with their interaction with Autodesk. And so as I was starting to put this together, I started doing the old Google searches for Pannoni logos and stuff like that I could use in this presentation and everything. And I noticed that this is the first time I saw the one that had the little script under there that says "Partners for What's Possible," and that kind of struck me as very applicable to our partnership as Autodesk with Pannoni. Pannoni's been really great about kind of letting Stacey be involved with just on our side, just being able to, they've been great about sharing her time with us so that we can make our products better for them and for everyone else. And so there's a whole bunch of different ways over the past several years that Stacey's been involved with just influencing not only collaboration for Civil 3D with our product team, but also a number of the other tools that we've done, we've implemented over the past couple of years. And there's a few different ways that she's done that. So Autodesk University has been a huge vehicle for kind of Stacey's interaction with us. She's the top rated speaker, and we've always had a lot of outstanding presentations from her, just kind of sharing her experiences, sharing her workflows and everything with the community as a whole. She's involved with the beta programs that I'll get into in just a moment here. But then during her, as she kind of spent time with us just in the community and was able to raise her voice and really offer great feedback on what it is that we were working on, we noticed, and we got we pulled her in a little bit more because she was such a good advocate for Pannoni, and then just the civil engineering community as a whole. And so some of what we've done with Stacey over the years is we have these events in over the course of the year. We have back when we were able to travel and have non-socially distanced events and stuff like that. We have these events called Inside the Factory at Autodesk, and basically what they are is we select, or people apply, and then we select from the many applicants that we get a cross-section of our user group from pretty much all over the world, actually. We lock them all in our Autodesk office for about a week, and we sit them in front of computers, and it's kind of a mix. It's a mix between being stuffed in a conference room, testing out new features and sharing workflows and stuff like that, and kind of beta testing and just pressure testing our software before we release it. We spend kind of the other half of the time brainstorming with our customers. And so we have our product team, our user experience design team in the office with with this group of customers, and we're brainstorming. We're picking their brains about okay, if you are focusing on collaboration, what do you do in this scenario? How do you set up your projects? How do you create a project? So on and so forth. And what are their expectations? And just the goal of these things is just to make sure that we're solving our customers' problems in the right way, making sure that Stacey had mentioned earlier that I think what was it that you said? It was implementation doesn't happen overnight, right? And so collaboration for Civil 3D in particular, we've been working on it for years. I mean, it's been a long road to get even where we are right now. It's been out for, like she said, about 8 months, and it took us a long time to just get to that first month period of it being out. Knowing that our competitive products in that realm have been out for a very long time, we didn't expect to be able to launch at their current level of capability first out of the gate. And so what Stacey and a lot of our other customers were able to help us do was to make sure that our initial launch of the software was not, they understood and knew that it wasn't going to be perfect either, but it was just what are the basics that you need in order to put this into production, be useful, and minimum lovable product is what we call it at Autodesk. So so that was, over the years, Stacey has been really helpful in that sort of kind of activity with us, just being able to be a very good advocate for her workflows, her customers, her collaborators, everybody that she comes in contact with. So so this was just a quick kind of touch on just kind of some of Stacey's involvement. So go to the next slide, please. Okay, so based on that, so how do you want to become Stacey? How can you get involved with the Civil 3D product team or the Civil Infrastructure product team? Our main vehicle for interacting with our customer base is this Autodesk Infrastructure Futures portal. And so basically what this is it's kind of an online portal where it's kind of a whole bunch of different things. It started out as just a beta portal many, many years ago that was like once a year we would throw the annual release of Civil 3D up there like months ahead of time and say, okay, here, test it and tell us what the bugs are. Over the last several years, it's evolved into kind of more of an ongoing feedback portal for us where pretty much all year long, we're posting things up there about, hey, we're working on this particular area of the product. Here are some ideas that we have. We'd like your feedback on it. And we'd get some feedback that way. We'd post surveys and stuff like that. It's evolved over the last couple of years to actually be a great place for, once a week, actually, we host these weekly, what's the product team working on webinars, which basically all this stuff is all under non-disclosure up on this futures portal. So it's like we're allowed to be a lot more candid with kind of what it is that we're working on and not quite as vague as we are on like the public roadmaps and stuff. So these weekly webinars, we generally go up and we like once a week we'll say, hey, over the last couple of weeks, one of our development teams has been working on this. And so we want to show you what the workflow is that we're working on and get your feedback on it. And we've had a lot of really good success getting a lot of feedback from a lot of people all over the world on those webinars. And then just kind of as the software evolves, we still post our betas up on this portal basically whenever betas are available. We have a couple of beta programs up there right now for a couple different products. And it's just a great way for us to kind of just make sure that we have a well-rounded solution for each of the things that we're working on before it actually gets into the customer's hands. So it's been a really great way for us to both kind of interact. This is almost like our kind of global user group that Autodesk sponsors, if you can put it that way. So it's a really great place for us and everything. We get a lot of value out of it, and it's kind of cool that our customers seem to get a lot out of it as well. Like it's kind of silly because like last couple of years I've gone to AU, like people will like walk up to me in the hall and be like, hey, you're the guy that's on those webinars every week and everything. And it's just like, oh, that's kind of cool. So people really get into it. It's kind of cool. So if you go to the next slide, please. This is just
You there for a minute?
Yes, ma'am.
We had a question come in from Timothy asking if there are similar portals for other products such as Revit. Thought you could share some color around, if all product teams are doing this or the ones that you're most familiar with.
Absolutely, yeah, it's a great question. If you go back a slide, please. Perfect, thank you. Okay, so most Autodesk product teams have some sort of beta portal or some sort of feedback portal up on feedback.autodesk.com. And so if you go up there, you'll see a whole bunch of available opportunities. And one of them up there will be this Autodesk Infrastructure Futures, that's ours. There are portals up there for Inventor, Revit, AutoCAD, you name it. There's a whole bunch of different opportunities up there that you can get involved with. So it's all under non-disclosure. So anything that you share up there, we can't talk about publicly and vice versa. So, but yeah, great way to get involved with all the product teams. Thanks for posting that, Rachel. But anyway, so at the next slide, if you're interested in joining the Infrastructure Features portal, quick QR code you can scan, or if you want to go up on feedback.autodesk.com, really simple way to join, and you can get cranking on. There's some exciting new stuff coming up, at least on the infrastructure side, I know for a fact. And there's always more stuff being posted up there. So always looking for feedback. That's my piece.
Thanks, Tim. I'd like to pause there before we continue any further, just to see if anyone has any specific questions for Stacey or Tim. They'll both be hosting a breakout discussion room, but if there's any other questions around Stacey's experience, or Stacey, one thing I'm interested in is with you guys revitalizing MAAUG. How do you anticipate, you said there are some of your top challenges right now that you're still facing and working kinks through. How do you envision pulling in some of those to collaborate with others within the MAAUG community?
Oh, you put me on the spot. Was that your question or is that a question out there? Because I feel like somebody out there is setting me up.
That was just
Okay.
sorry for heading you up there.
Yeah, I mean, I think I envision like, you know, MAAUG is really about everyone in the AEC industry that deals with Autodesk products. It's not specific to one product or platform. It's so we can work together. So I'm really hoping that, you know, there's individuals from all skill sets, you know, even those who are just starting out to those who have been in the industry for years. And if we can discuss some of those challenges and what different companies are doing, I think that it's going to benefit all of us when it comes to projects that we will eventually work on together. I mean, there is always a time where we will cross paths. Either my company will work with yours or vice versa. So I'm hoping that, you know, continues to grow and benefit all of us in the community.
Yep.
Yeah, and if I could piggyback up on that, I think one of the reasons why I think it's important to have these user groups is that our firm, we're 115 employees, landscape architecture and civil. We don't have a vertical sector in our office that would be a driving factor to move to collaboration for Civil 3D. And so that communication needs to happen, you know, with the architect and the civil engineer. And sometimes that's really hard for a technology manager like myself to drive that rhetoric and to get in front of those conversations faster. And it just needs to happen a bit more organically in, you know, casual, hopefully eventually in-person meetings where we can say, hey, let's identify a project together that we can work on and try this product out. Because right now we're on a virtual network and I don't know how Civil 3D, collaboration for Civil 3D would be implemented for my firm, how it would be any different than we currently work.
Good addition, Landon. I think there probably are, you know, others out there feeling maybe similar questions or, you know, wondering what that implementation would look like. So I think back to both of your all's point of collaborating within the local communities, you know, it's either people you're going to be interacting and engaging with, but also who you can go to start solving these challenges and, you know, have familiar faces and experts, becoming experts yourself too, as you maybe drive that change within your companies and your firms. Any other questions out there? We're gonna
Rachel, can I stop sharing and you can take back over the slide deck there?
Of course.
Thanks.
Let me get that going. So we will be, if there aren't any specific questions yet, we'll be moving into the second half of continuing this conversation with breakout discussions. So this is a new format that we're testing, so bear with me a bit as I go through to describe the nature of this. But ultimately, we're going to have 3 rooms that, you know, will help facilitate and allow you guys to actually unmute yourself, talk with each other, show your camera, and to, oh, noticing that the volume got pretty quiet. Hopefully it gets better for you. Okay, it's good there. But we're going to have, I'll put 3 rooms onto the screen and you'll be able to kind of choose where you want to go from here. So we'll be ending and having everyone exit and leave the Zoom webinar and go into the Zoom meetings to just network and meet with each of the folks in there. So our first room is going to allow you to connect with Stacey and Anand with the Mid-Atlantic Autodesk User Group. So like we mentioned before, it is newly revitalized and Stacey and Anand are really excited just to meet you all and network with those in the Mid-Atlantic region. For those in Charleston area or the Carolinas, Landon will be hosting a breakout room with his new Design Technology Charleston User Group. Even if you're not in the area, know if this is a relevant topic for you and anything that Landon mentioned that resonated, he's gonna be there and excited to, you know, just network with you all and maybe discuss further. The third room is going to be with Tim. So you can connect with him if you're interested in getting more involved with, influencing the product roadmap, getting involved in the feedback community. You can meet one-on-one with Tim there and connect personally. So before I'll be putting up in the chat links to each of these rooms, and they are Zoom meeting links. So you'll exit out of the Zoom webinar session and just go continue to facilitate that discussion in each of these rooms. But before we go, I do want to say thank you for attending the first Virtual Meetup Series. It's been great to have Stacey and Tim, Design Technology Charleston, MAAUG, CAD Micro Systems, this whole collaborative effort of everyone coming together to get this hosted. It's been really exciting for me. I think it's been a long time coming to get this up and live. So it's been great to have you all here to host. With that, these are events that we would love to do, in the future, continue with the virtual meetup series, maybe hop around the world. So I'd love to just launch a quick poll just to gauge, your all's interest in attending more of these local virtual meetups and hopefully back into the physical environment soon. So yeah, if you guys just would take a minute before we close out and go to the breakout discussions, it would be valuable for us.
Wait, that's not fair. We can't vote. I didn't know that.
Oh my God. We'll add your vote in, Stacey.
I'm highly likely to come back.
Very likely.
I'll give everyone just a few more minutes. I know we have just a little bit. But awesome. I'll leave that up and running just for a minute. But if you want to connect, if you don't have time, I know this is, already taking time out of your day. So I hope it was valuable for you so far. But if you want to connect with your local user group, find one near you or check out the online communities that you can join. Here is our group network website URL, so you can check those out. From there, we hope to see you in our breakout discussions. So here again are the breakout rooms, and let me start posting into the chat those Zoom meeting links and getting those in 1 minute. I want to make sure it's formatted right so you guys can all get there. So the Mid-Atlantic User Group is that first Zoom link, so you can click out into it. If you want to connect with Landon, Design Technology Charleston, use that second one. And then connecting specifically with Tim is that last Zoom meeting link. So thank you all for attending. Feel free to hop out, join those discussions, and I'll probably be popping around those virtual rooms to say hello. So thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Rachel, I lost my link. Can you repaste it, please?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me send it directly to you.
Awesome.
There you go.
Hey, everybody.
Oh, still in this one, Tim.
It's all good.